I'd like to talk about a chapter in my book, which is Falling Sky here, and the chapter is Mountain Sphere, right there, and chapter 7. And this occurred in 1977. I was about 16 years old. I was with my brother Ron, who was a little older than me. He was like 21, and we were up in the mountains at nighttime. And I don't know, it's somewhere around 11 o'clock or so. The time's never precise, never can be precise because you're not actually watching time when things like this happen. But it was around 11 o'clock, and we were with two dates. And well, back then I used to smoke, and went to the. My brother said, "Let's go to the back of the car." We just pulled out. He pulled out into the field on Manor Lane, and here's some images of Manor Lane. It'll show you exactly where it is. And since then, they've installed cameras up there, and I guess it's pretty a lot of stuff going on up there. But anyway, my brother had pulled out into a turnout on the road up there, which was ways up about halfway up the mountain, and we were parked aiming down toward the road, and we were standing at the trunk of his car while the two girls were inside of the car, and we had our trunk open, and we're listening to a tape. My brother had an auto reverse deck, and he put on a Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous tape, and it was probably about an hour and 10 minutes long, something like that. It was a very long tape. So we're at the back of the trunk of his car. We were having our cigarettes. I was tired because we'd worked all day long. But anyway, we're just shooting the bull there, and with that, my brother's saying, he's saying, "What do you think of these girls?" I said, "Well, I don't know. We just met them and stuff, so I can't even really form an opinion at this point." But anyway, we're BSing back and forth for a few minutes, and my brother says, "Check that out, brother," and he points back behind this tree that you're looking at right now in the video, and he says, "What is that?" And I turn and look, and there's like a round orange sphere, and it was big. It was as big as the tree. You could see the top of it popping out of the top of the tree, and it was behind the tree, and it was just giant. And I said, "I don't know." And we started talking. He said, "What the hell do you think that is?" I go, "I don't know, dude. I've seen something very similar to it when I was with a friend, Spike, in these same mountains when we saw three mock moons and the other moon on the other side. So there was four moons in the sky that night, and they looked like the same thing, harvest moons almost." And so he says, "Look, check it out. It's getting bigger." So I turned around, and this thing, what really was, it was towering over the trees now. It was almost doubling its size. And all of a sudden, it's like the music started fading, and he says, "Let's get out of here." He says, "Leave." I said, "No, let's go check it out." And he goes, "No, let's get out of here." So he just flies to the car, and he opens up the door, and he starts his engine. He says, get in, or I'm leaving you here." So I didn't have much choice. So I went around to the passenger door, hopped in, and we're splitting out of the mountains. He's racing out of the mountains. And the girls in back were very upset, and they were asking, "What's going on? What's going on? What's up?" He goes, "What do you mean, what's up? Didn't you see that thing out there? That huge sphere out there behind the trees, that big glowing sphere?" They go, "No, we didn't see anything." And he says, "How could you miss it?" She says, and one of the gals says, she says, "Miss it?" She says, "We went out looking for you guys." And she says, "You were nowhere in sight." And my brother says, "You idiots, we're right at the trunk of the car." And she says, "You weren't at the trunk of the car." She says, "Your trunk was open. You two weren't there, and you're nowhere around. We went looking for you." She said, "You've been gone for about an hour." And he goes, "You're insane. We're out there about 5 minutes." He says, "We couldn't even finish our cigarette. We just finished it, and that was about it." And she goes, "Well, you were out there a long time." And whatever it was about an hour. And he looks at his car clock, and I can't remember exactly what time it was, but an hour and had passed. And we're like, "Whoa." And he says, "Who touched my tape deck? Because there's no music anymore." And she says, "Nobody touched your tape deck." And she said, it flipped to the other side and stopped playing. So we were gone for at least an hour, 10 minutes, at least an hour. Okay. So there's an hour of missing time there. And we couldn't explain where we were. Okay, we knew we were at the trunk of the car, but we weren't at the trunk of the car because these two girls went looking for us. They couldn't find us. So there's some missing time, quite a bit of time, but we have no memories of what actually happened while they were looking for us. We figured we were at the trunk of the car. So apparently. This is before I could start remembering my events because I didn't have my pineal gland activated yet. I was a young kid and it just hadn't happened yet. But they're like, oh, take us home. And so we did. Drove out of the mountains and we dropped them off. My brother and I just really didn't discuss this much at all at that particular point because we really didn't know what to think because it didn't make any sense that that tape could have gone all the way, played all the way through, and then stopped. And it turned into kind of an argument actually in the car when the girls said they didn't touch the deck that it played over. My brother said, "You touched my deck," and they said, "We didn't touch it." Anyway, we'd never seen these girls again afterwards because it didn't work out too well. It was just a weird night. So my brother and I didn't even discuss it. We didn't even talk about it for at least a few days afterwards. And then finally, my brother says to me, he says, "You know what that was we saw in the mountains?" I go, I don't know. I said, "You wanted to leave." And he goes, "That was God, brother." I said, "That wasn't God." And he goes, "How would you know? Have you ever seen God?" I said, "No, I've never seen God, but I know that couldn't be God." He says, "That was God." Well, now in retrospect, when I think back on it, he was being quite truthful about what it really was. They were beings of our Creator. Like I said, I've said before, I don't really like the term God or putting pigeonholing what our Creator actually is. So I'm not going to. I call it our Creator. Because it covers a very broad subject territory. But the reality is, they are, as I learned later in life, that's what they claim to be, messengers of the Creator. And this is what they were doing, is relaying messages and instilling me with what I'm supposed to do later in life. And that's what they did. And so my brother was actually right about this. People have a different perception of what God is. They think it's some man in the clouds with a beard and long hair and sitting on a throne and white puffy clouds, and that's just kind of a delusional concept. To be logical about it, the realism of it, our Creator is much grander and much bigger than anything like that. It's not a being. It's the glue. It's anything and everything. It's you and I. It's everybody. It's every being in the cosmos. It's every planet in the cosmos. Every sun in the cosmos. It's the cosmos itself. It's the glue holding the entire universal expanse together. It's a force, it's a power. It is anything. It is trees, it is waterfalls, it is water, it is fields, it is everything, metals, plastics, wood. So it makes up everything. So the reality of it, our Creator is a lot bigger than most people can even imagine. Churches have made it into something that it's really not meant to be because they're trying to. I hate to say it, that a lot of them are pocketing off of our Creator. They're trying to make dollars off of this, and that's it's not a good thing to do. But I wanted to share this because to me it was a really relevant situation. My brother saying that it was God. Okay, to me that didn't make any sense at the time, but now it makes perfect sense. They were of God. They or the Creator, and that's what I refer to, like I say repeatedly. And if people only understood what this Creator actually was, there would be a lot more peace in this world because then you'd finally understand there's no really religion that's really correct because none of them speak the truth. Okay. Yes, Jesus was a hybrid. There's been many hybrids. Muhammad was another hybrid too. They're all hybrids, and they came here to teach certain things. Some people think the war. A lot of Islam still think the war is going on, but the war ended. If you read the Quran, Muhammad said there was a time for war and there's a time for peace, and the time for peace has come. Okay, and a lot of people are still stuck in the old school, just like a lot of people are still stuck in the old school of what our Creator, what they call God is. Okay, if we all could get in uniformity on this to understand that we're all talking about the same thing, it's what's created us all. It's created everything. Okay, and it isn't a he or a she. It's a he and a she and an it and everything. So the reality is, if they can just get that concept in their head, it'd be a lot, probably more peaceful world. But I wanted to share it in that light because I've shared this before about Mountain Sphere. It wasn't written about in my book this way, but I wanted to tell it the way that I see it now. And I hope that you all can start seeing it the way that I do, because that's what needs to happen in this world. People want aliens to come here and to intervene and be part of our everyday life, and it's not going to happen until there's peace among us. Okay, and we can't do this with there's constant dissensions about money, religions, and what have you. It needs to happen, but it needs to happen in a proper fashion that we're all getting along. Then at that point, we're going to be capable of, well, we will advance and we'll be capable of venturing out to other cosmos and other areas in the cosmos and other planets, other solar systems, and actually meeting new life. And this will advance humanity so far. So if we could all get along and learn that we're not really against each other, that we're on the same planet, we're all evolving in the same direction, because the Earth only rotates one place. So we're revolving in the same direction and evolving in the same direction. But once we get past the differences in religion, I think everything would be a lot more peaceful, and I think things would be a lot better for everybody. We'll find cures for things like cancers, the common colds, and a lot of things people suffer and die from, and people will live longer. So I wanted to share that, and I hope you liked it. Thank you. Amen.